Greetings everyone and welcome to the first episode of my new Rimworld series, though I suppose it's welcome back for at least a few of you. But for those who haven't watched the episode 0 game setup video, don't worry. TLDR, this is a Bronze Man run and we're playing with Cassie on Losing is Fun with a Mechanitor start. This is a modded playthrough with a moderate amount of mods by my standards, but no doubt it'll seem like baby's first mod list to at least a few of you. The main takeaway though is that I'm playing with Combat Extended, a massive overhaul mod that focuses on, well, you guessed it, combat, especially gunplay though. If you're interested in a bit more of a deep dive into the specifics, such as the ideal legion, world seed and parameters, or just a bit more info on my goals for this run, then do check out the game setup video. It should show up as one of them funky YouTube cards up in the top right somewhere, assuming I didn't forget. But with that said, our colonists and their mechs have just touched down, and there's an awful lot of work to get done, namely getting all of our gubbins off this stupid... why did they land in the water? My lord, it's like you haven't played Rimworld before. All right, let's get a little spot over here. That should be good enough. We have got the allow tool. That was the name I was looking for. So let's just promptly get all of this stuff moved over there. My lord, periapsis, thank you very much there. Right, let's get the food over. If you're unfamiliar with anything outside is going to deteriorate a little bit. There are some things that cannot deteriorate. For example, the steel. Honestly, perhaps I shouldn't have that being hauled as a priority, but I'm fine with them just getting everything off there. But anything that is perishable will perish a lot faster if it is submerged in water. So we really do want to get as much of that over here as possible. On that note, we do have a couple of mechs, and you know what? We don't have names for our mechs. Another thing I would like to do is make sure that our mechs are recharging at the correct time. I would like them to recharge from 10% up to 100. I don't want them to drop below that, but there may be times when I'm going to have to force the issue. Outside of that, everyone's favorite part. You know what? I'm acting as if this is awful. It's not that bad, actually. I kind of like setting this up, but whilst they're hauling everything, let's go ahead and prepare all of this. In fact, let me pause it right there because I'm going to start changing things that will affect everything our character does. I'll go through this with you for the first character in detail, but future characters I'll probably just do quickly. Usual way I like to do this, understand that priorities are done left to right and then numbered priorities. So for example, if all other things are equal, firefighting will be done before doctoring. Right now, since we've only got one colonist, it's important that my doctor does not lie down in bed and wait to be tended. They should tend themselves and then lie down in bed, even if it's a life-threatening thing. But outside of that, bed rest is fine. We'll put that on a fairly low priority. I want their primary jobs done first. Well, actually, no, we'll pop it on a 2. I won't be that cruel of a taskmaster. Priority hauling should be done as a priority. Childcare is another one that should be done at a priority 1. Basic is things like flicking switches, and generally speaking, if I want a switch flicked, I want it flicked right now, so I'm going to have that on as a priority 1 as well. This is an important job. It's not a very common one, so it shouldn't interfere with too much. And then the other obvious, these should always be done first, are things which are kind of, in my mind, associated with life support. Very much like oxygen not included, I have a very high priority on anything that is necessary to keep the duplicants alive, and it's exactly the same here. So for example, cooking should be a high priority, growing should be a high priority, construction, yes, probably, though not quite as much. That would be a 2. Hunting would probably be a 2. Wardening, I mean, it's life support. It's just not life support for your colonists specifically. But you know what? I'm going to bump that up to a 1 as well. We should make sure that people are taken care of. Now, as for construction, that's going to be a very low priority, and that's specifically because we've got a constructoid who will be doing most of the construction for us, and periapsis is awful at it. But once you've got the ones in place, the kind of super high priority ones, then it comes down to passions, and I would say that generally speaking, anything that they're particularly good at should be a 2. That should be like a primary job for them. But I'm going to make an exception for research, because research is one of these things which it's a forever job. There's always going to be more research to do, or ideally there should always be more research to do. So making this a really high priority will mean that nothing else will ever get done. So I'm going to bump that down to a priority 3. Other than that, everything else goes in at a 4. As this is a lone colonist, there's no job that's going to be off the table. They should be expected to kind of pitch in with more or less everything. That should be okay right now. And if you're familiar with Dark Study, this is added by the Anomaly DLC. This is exactly what it sounds like. It's maybe prying into the hidden mysteries of the world that you really shouldn't, I suppose. Right, the next job that we're going to want to do is this schedule. Now, personally, I am a big fan of biphasic. I don't think the Rimworld pawns are necessarily up to the task of a triphasic sleep cycle. To be honest, neither am I these days. It's been a little while. I very much was very proud of myself working up to triphasic, but I am back down to biphasic at this point, ever since COVID, more or less. Let's see. I'm going to say want to slap down about 4 hours around here and around 4 hours around the middle of the day. However, this first day is a bit of an exception. We've got a lot of work that I need you to do before you try to sleep. Now, with all of that done, you're happily... Ooh, okay, so we have definitely got a couple of insects, and I believe this this overlay highlighting is part of vanilla now. This is not part of a mod, though I know that some mods still do it, like Camera Plus, but this is actually part of vanilla and I love it. Okay, so we've got a couple of nests, nothing too worrisome. If you've been with the channel for a little while, you'll know that my stance on insects in Rimworld is actually quite a positive one. I think you can foster a very positive relationship with insects. Use them as would-be defenders. You just got to respect them, because that relationship can sour very easily if you don't pay attention to it. Okay, well, we've got a very defensible crater here. Lots of caves, though, which are adding extra points of egress, because obviously setting up some sort of defensive area here would be the go-to, and here as well, here if we can. I think this is just shallow water, so we should be able to bridge across it. So we might be able to make some defenses, though honestly, if this is a narrow enough corridor, we can easily defend it anyway. It is perhaps a little wider than I would have liked, but still there's plenty of opportunities here for us to defend this area. But these caves give plenty of routes into the sort of main area here, so I'm gonna have to try and seal these off. Actually, no, that one is already sealed off. That one isn't so bad, but this one has a couple of different points of ingress that we're going to want to be aware of. Are there any others around the back? No. So I'm thinking we're probably going to want to settle quite far back also and turn off automatic home zone. I like to do that manually. Oh, we do not have any... Ah, that sucks. We have no fertile soil. Okay, that's going to be a bit of a rough one, because we don't have many days out of the year that we can grow on. So fertile soil is more or less a necessity to maximize the time that we do have when we can grow things outdoors. But that is not going to be working for us. But that does make settling a bit easier. We've also got a fallen monolith. Is there an anima tree around here or not? I'm not seeing one if there is. Oh, there it is, hidden behind a pine tree. Okay, that's quite far outside. That's a bit of a rough one. We may want to commit the gravest of sins and chop down the anima tree and hope that it spawns somewhere a little bit better for us. But we'll have to have a look at that one. All right, well, I've got a bit of an idea. Now, before we get the mechs to doing their work, I noticed that they haven't been named, unlike Periapsis, who managed to catch Chaotrocles' eye. Well done on that one, by the way. The first colonist is always, well, I mean, it's a relatively safe bet. I mean, you're more than likely going to last probably the longest, assuming the colony doesn't fall within the first couple of days, which hopefully it won't. But give me just a moment, and we need to find a couple of names for our lifter and constructoid, because I'm not going to say the lifter and the constructoid for the entire series. Okay, everyone, please say hello to Encrypt and Bubbles. Welcome to the colony, and thank you ever so much for your patron support. I'm going to give Bubbles some work to do straight away, because as we've already noted, Bubbles is not very fast at building things. They're just very capable of building things, or at least I believe that is the case. Let me just double check. Yeah, there's nothing that Bubbles can't build as far as I'm aware, with a skill of 10, but the construction speed of 25 and the global work speed of 50 respectively, that is going to hurt. Bubbles is not going to build anything fast, but will more or less be able to build everything to an adequate standard. So let's set up a nice little place. All we've got right now is steel. Yes, we are in a forest. It would make sense to chop down some trees, perhaps. And maybe I should do that, but we're going to go with steel first and foremost. So a simple steel wall. We could leverage the heat from the geotherm. Might not be a bad move, actually. Though this would be a much bigger construct than I would initially want. But sure, let's go ahead and throw something together around this geotherm. That will give us a nice starting point. We will have a door over there. That should be fine. And right now, the main thing is just getting this area built. So hopefully, Bubbles can crack on with that straight away. Now then, as for the schedule, we will give another point somewhere around here for them to have a second sleep point. I'm going to give them, so we'll have 4 hours and then a fourth 4 hours of mandated sleep, then another hour of whatever. So if they want a little bit more sleep, they just don't have to get up. But then I definitely want them to get up and do some recreating. And then it's going to be anything. And then somewhere around midday, we'll have another 4 hours and then another hour of mandated recreation. I might give them 2 hours of mandated recreation. We will see. I do believe that after recreating is fully satisfied, they will actually stop and do something else. So I'll pop 2 in there for now. What we want to do is we want to maximize Periapsis being in a good state of mind, because we really can't afford for Periapsis to have a mental break for any reason whilst they're the only colonist in the colony. That would be absolutely terrifying for us. Once all of this is done, though, I will have you do a little bit of plant work as... Oh, my lord, it's raining as well. Cassandra really wants to make this hard for us, doesn't she? That's already lost 4 hit points, which is absolutely awful. Everything here is going to lose a bunch of hit points, unfortunately. What I could do, though, is we could have Periapsis just throw up a quick steel wall right there. As soon as you're out of the water, there we go. I want you to prioritize working on this. Just go for it. Let's throw that together, and then I am very quickly going to zone a roof over this, just so that we can have a little bit more time to take care of all of this. There we go. No, please, please and thank you. Continue, prioritize building the roofs. I only need you to do it in a couple of spots, just to get it over the really important stuff that will decay badly if it isn't done. So there, and also there, and we should be good. There we are. That should take care of... Of course, you couldn't put it there, could you? Literally a completely viable spot there just waiting for you, and you had to put it somewhere else. You scoundrel. What we will likely do is, as soon as all of this is brought over, I'm going to have Encrypt carry some gubbins up to the top over there. I might try and have Periapsis help out with a little bit of extra work, in that I could have them try and put together... Well, their skill is actually so low, the baking furniture. There's a higher than I would like chance that they would fail the construction, unfortunately, and that would actually be genuinely quite bad. All right, well, we will have Encrypt. They will help by marching some of the steel over here, so Bubbles can just focus on building, which would be perfect. In fact, while Bubbles is down here, maybe I could have Bubbles work on one little thing. We are going to want a shelf. Actually, how much does the shelf need? It only needs 20, so we can immediately switch this over to be a wooden shelf. So Bubbles, if you could work on that for me, ideally. Can I not tell you to? Am I selecting Bubbles? Huh. Doesn't look like I can force Bubbles to build things. Interesting. Bubbles goes where Bubbles pleases. Okay, fair enough. Well, hopefully this will get done as a fairly high priority. The other way I could do this is I could just select all of these and disallow them. Like so. That should turn Bubbles straight around. There we go. You would think that I haven't played it with biotech at all for not realizing that I can't force mechs to do the jobs that I want them to do, but no, I promise you I have. Really? Okay, well, maybe I should forbid these as well. No, and no. Get back down there, Bubbles, you scoundrel, you. I did set that up to be to use wood, didn't I? Yes, I did. Okay, there we go. Now you can get it all done, Bubbles, and then I will allow everything else back up here. Thank you very much for your cooperation. We need to get this done because then I can tell them to store items in there, because everything out here is still technically outdoors and is thus decaying a little bit faster. All I want is medicine. Well, actually, pretty much everything here can be moved across. This is currently set up as normal, so hopefully Bubbles will actually will consider. Oh, okay, the wood is being stored there. Maybe not that then. No raw resources, please, Bubble. Encrypt. Let's get everything else stored in there. I am probably going to get their names wrong more than a few times. I wonder if I can get their name tags to show up. I'm fairly certain that that is an option somewhere. Give me a second. There we go. Encrypt and Bubbles. You now get a name tag just like Periaptus, which is only fair. Right, maybe getting another shelf up and running sooner rather than later would be good, because our food situation is going to be pretty bad and it's going to get a lot worse before it gets better, unfortunately. But another shelf should be enough. The nice thing about the shelves is I can simply move the shelves once they're ready and we can just get them all the way up here. Now, the other things that we're going to want as well is we're going to want to set up things like beds. We are going to want a wooden bed in here. Now, this room is actually going to get very, very warm initially, which is not ideal, but hopefully we can work with that. We'll just pop a little wooden end table there to increase the quality of the bed. But more important than almost anything else, of course, is the dining table. Let's get that done right away. And once again, I can't force you to take care of it, sadly, but hopefully Encrypt will cart everything up there ASAP. Very well done. Moving things around as needed. It would be fantastic if you could bring those up. I think Encrypt is actually focusing on moving stuff out of the way of the building zone. Well done there. That way it can immediately be built. Hopefully we can get that on the move shortly. There we are. Going and grabbing some more wood. That's wonderful. Right, so I'm going to disallow this and disallow the end table as well, just so those aren't worked on before we try and get the all-important table and chair, so that Periapsis can actually eat at a table like a civilized individual. Though, having a look at Periapsis, again, if you haven't checked out the episode 0, they are a recluse, fast learner with bloodlust. An interesting combination. They've got a passion for intellectual, for crafting, and for plants. They're okay at cooking. They have got a 4 in shooting. They're very low skilled in a lot of other things. Mining especially is really going to hurt. They're okay with medical. They're not particularly they have no passion for it, unfortunately, and they're passively capable of socializing, though they don't really like to. So we're gonna have a bit of a rough time until we can get someone else to help out with the colony. That's actually going to be a very, very important one. Now, in terms of their current assignments, Combat Extended actually adds a lot more in this regard. We have got loadouts. Specifically, Periapsis is currently holding on to a good number of pistol cartridges, or rather bullets, actually. This isn't in a clip or anything. These are just loose bullets that they will load into the clip as needed. And they've got the regular biocoded auto pistol, but with Combat Extended, this has been further refined. This is a biocoded M1911. I have been told that is how you are to pronounce the name of that gun. As someone from Britain, this is all very much another language to me, so I do apologize if I get clip or magazine mixed up. I will do my very best not to, but I am just managing expectations. There is a higher than zero chance that will in fact happen. Right, let's link these settings since they're going to be better. I don't want any of the wood stored in there. I want the books, the food, because once it's stored in this, it's no longer vulnerable to weather-like effects. It's no longer counted as basically being outdoors, which is exactly what we want. Now, as for this zone, we want to make this home. There we go. And hopefully we can get this roof built over nice and fast. Now, I am a little bit concerned that this steam geyser is going to make this place ruinously hot. So we are probably going to want to build a little vent or to the outside fairly early on. And I'm just going to have that one just pop there. That way we can open it up if we need to and just equalize with the temperature outside. But ultimately, we're going to want to leverage the heat that this geyser is going to be producing for us. We won't have to build heating for quite some time. Though, thankfully, the Mechanitor start does come with the ability to set up power. And that's something that we probably should look at doing fairly early on. We're going to want a battery about there. And I'm thinking, let's make sure that we've got plenty of room to walk around this. But I think having a wind turbine set out here wouldn't be terrible. Likewise, we could set it up there. In fact, it lines up a little bit better if we set it up there. So with that done, we will then throw down... I'm pretty much going to be using hidden conduits almost exclusively. I see no reason not to. They are more expensive, but there is one very, very big thing about hidden conduits. That other than the fact that they're hidden and thus can't simply be set on fire by scallywags, they are immune to ZT events. Typically, a ZT event does not happen on a device, it happens on a conduit. And hidden conduits, because they're built into the ground, can't be subject to ZT events. I think the event can still trigger and drain your batteries, but it won't trigger an explosion, which is very much appreciated. Now, we've got all the wood there. I would very much like it if Bubbles would focus on that, if possible. In fact, to that end, I'm going to disable everything else. I really want that table and chair sorted out, please. Please and thank you. All right, what's the time? It is 9 o'clock. Okay, fair enough. Let's get these made, ideally, really. There we go. Perfect. Right, Bubbles is getting to work on the table. The chair will come next. For now, I'm going to say that it is less awful to sleep on the floor than it would be to eat without a table. So let's get that table made right now. In fact, what are you up to, Periapsis? You're hauling steel. That is perfectly okay. I will allow that to happen. I will also now allow this to be worked on. How hot is it in this? 31 degrees. That is swelteringly hot, and it's going to get even more hot. So while it's a reasonable temperature outside, 15 degrees is reasonable in my opinion, especially if you've got warm clothes. But 30 degrees? No. 42 degrees? Absolutely not. Okay, morning is here and Periapsis is having their very, very first meal on that table. Ah, fantastic. You must feel very happy with yourself. Let's have a look. 8 with... Lies. That is not true. That was from the before times and shouldn't be counted against us. Slept on the ground. Okay, slept in the cold. It could be a lot worse. Yeah, you're in the dark. Look, everything is going to get better, but baby steps. Baby steps. Right, we're going to want to move these items all the way up here. Let's get all of those shelving units relocated. That will cause some of the items to be dropped on the floor, and that kind of sucks, but it is what it is. As for this room, ultimately, if you're wondering, this room is going to be a greenhouse is what I'm thinking. Something along those lines, or somewhere around here. We will try and set that up and again, leverage the steam geyser, but it won't be our living room, not long term anyway. For now, it'll have to be, but later on, we will be moving things around a little bit more. Right, we've got a lot of gear to be moved. I would like to set up some recreational items as well. So how about we go ahead to recreation and set up a horseshoe pin just around there. Will do quite nicely, I think. And let Bubbles focus on getting power up and running. Now, outside of that, at the moment, it isn't terribly bad for us outdoors. I think we might be able to maybe throw down just a tiny little grow zone of some sort, but it is pretty much going to have to be potatoes that we're growing initially. Those are the only things that are really going to be able to handle the pretty awful soil that we've got. And with that in mind, we're probably going to want to throw up a small fence around this area as well, just to make sure that no animals decide to come in here and have a munch on our precious noms. Let's go ahead and throw down a little fence there. This will do nothing for protection, by the way. Absolutely nothing, less than nothing, in fact. But it will dissuade some of the larger animals from trying to get in here and eat our dinner. So let's go ahead and run this all the way down. and around. Okay, our turbine is up. Auto cut is already enabled. Or should be. Yeah, auto cut blocking plants. Thank you very much. So we should see Periapsis get out there and chop down those trees. There we go. Already designated. Perfect. That should get done relatively fast. Really, everything got inside first. Ah, man. Look, okay, a Aavak isn't going to be deterred by a fence. What were you expecting? It's a Aavak. A Aavak goes where it wants to go. Take away from this, though, is that the Aavak isn't going to go in here and eat our crops. It might go in there and eat animals, or try to eat us, which is a problem that we are probably going to have to deal with, but it shouldn't go for our crops. A Aavak does not care for potatoes, thankfully, because it would be a lot worse if they did. Right, we've still got to get these shelves moved over, and now that we've done that, all of the shelving, all of the items that were on the shelves will have fallen down. But there we go, all nice and done. Now, unfortunately, Periapsis is the only one that can deal with all of this, so that we're going to have to wait for them to cut this down before we start generating any power. There is one way that you can make your mechs do that for you, though, and that is to give them a building job. So, for example, if we wanted to force the mechs to take care of this, and I actually do recommend doing this anyway, simply so it'll prevent any future plants from growing there, just put a load of concrete down. It takes very little steel to place that concrete, but it will cause your builder to chop down the trees, because the tree is now in the way of a building task, so it'll get rid of it. So it is one way of getting a bot that isn't designed for cutting down trees to cut down trees here. There we go. Took care of the raccoon. I will leave that there. That is entirely for you to devour. There we go. Periapsis is just chilling out for a little bit. We're going to need to get a light in there, though. So let's go ahead and add these in. And since this is a silver wall, actually, first we're going to run power all the way around, just so that I can hook up lights on any wall, and we're not going to have wires stretching across the floor, which just kind of irritate me much more than it should. I know, but there we are. All right, let's get all of that done. How are we looking down here? Actually, not too bad. We've almost brought everything back up here at this point. Making some solid progress. Montoya has reached level 14 in medical. You've got some ghosts. There are some ghosts on this map. And I can tell you right now, my guess is that that ghost is in fact someone in an ancient danger. Is this the ancient danger? Do we have ghosts in that? Oh, that. I don't know if there is a mod setting that you can change with the level up dings that it won't tell you the skill ups for people outside of your colony. But I think that would be quite useful if we could find it, because I don't need to know that the ancient danger occupants are getting better at being ancient dangers. Okay, it is now time for us to pop down. I think just 2 lights should be enough. If we get those either end of the room, then that should take care of everything for us. There we go. We've still got loads of gubbins being brought in. Periapsis cutting down the last couple of trees down there. Thank you very much, Periapsis. We should have... You know what? I think it probably behooves us to set up a no-go zone. So we're going to use Area 1 for this. I'm simply going to designate certain areas as out of bounds. We are not allowed to go there at all for any reason. Definitely not for scavenging. Down here as well. Basically, I'm just blocking out the areas where our colonists might decide to go and play with the insects if there was something over there that they particularly wanted to go and collect. And I would very much like them not to. The less we bother the insects, the less the insects will bother us, is the way I look at it. Let's pop that up there. Yeah, sure. We'll mark off that whole area. There we are. That should be good enough. Now, if we go into manage areas, we can change this one. Let's call this safe zone. Or, well, actually, let's rename that to insect safe. There we go. That's a little bit better. And now we want to invert it. There we go. So now everyone is only allowed to be in insect safe. I don't want anyone going anywhere outside of this zone for the time being. On that note, I'm going to set up clean to snow clear. And then we are going to mark certain areas as to be kept clear of snow, and in turn they will also be swept from time to time. So I will probably lay down some pathways out there eventually. Not going to do that right now, but I love the little cleaning area mod. So useful. I hate it when, just because you mark somewhere as a home zone where you want people to put out fires if they start, all of a sudden they're out there sweeping the desert of sand. It's like, not exactly what I was looking for, if I'm honest. There we go. Now we can be assured that they will take care of all of that should there be a need for it. There we go. We got lights. Fantastic. Right, Bubbles. Periapsis, you no longer need to be here because Bubbles has made you a bed. So go ahead and relocate yourself. Oh, okay. Never mind. You could do a little bit more work too. That also is useful. Right, inside is 32 degrees during the day. Not ideal for us, if I'm perfectly honest. Right, now, as for research, and we want to get on to research relatively fast. We start with a bunch of things because of being a Mechanitor. But it is my understanding that one of the first things we really need to do is get up to the point where we can make, at the very least, our own ammunition for our weapons, because with combat extended, guns don't just fire mined bullets, they actually fire bullets, and to get bullets you have to make bullets using a loading bench. To get there, we're going to need to go through gunpowder and machining. So smithing, gunpowder, machining, all the way over there. So we're going to need to set up smithing as one of the first things we do. And let's go ahead and produce a little bit of a research bench. We may as well make it out of wood. There's no reason not to. Not a big fan of having your office where your bedroom is. This is no longer a bedroom, it's an everything room, and that is not a good place to be. But there we are. Let's just pop that one down there. We're also going to go ahead and make this place look a little bit nicer as well. I'm not going to make fine wooden flooring. My lord, we only just started. Wooden flooring will have to do. There we go. We'll have a paved tile wrap out there. There we are. That will look a lot better, and we should be able to throw this together relatively fast. We've got some visitors. Okay. So a group from the Gubia Pact are visiting the colony. They seem to have a few items for trade. Very well. Let's have a look at the Gubia Pact. If we bring up the world, I wonder if they are one of the areas right next to us. Okay, Gubia Pact, although probably from White Tosphexara, just down here. So they've made the trek. They probably saw our drop pod cutting a scar across the sky as it descended, and have decided to come and see what there is to see about us. Let's have a look. We've got a couple of folks here, mostly armed with melee, one with a shield. Very well. Periapsis. There isn't much that we have to trade, unfortunately, but we could always go and see what they have to offer. At the very least, say hello. They've got some herbal meds. I don't want to have this axe here, the uranium axe. It's awful. And while for sale it's worth very little, for raid points it's worth a lot, and we're just not going to be using it. It's that bad. So I'm going to be getting rid of that. With Combat Extended, the quality is... I can't remember if this is worse than vanilla, or like it's more of an amplified effect, or if it was always this bad. But awful weapons, yeah, really not worth having around the colony, in my opinion, with Combat Extended. Let's go ahead and buy all of their herbal meds. Sure. I will accept this trade. Thank you very much. The merchants very kindly go and pop the trade goods, the best place that they can find for them. Very much appreciated. Right, we're going to shrink this zone a little bit so it's less of an eyesore in here. We still need a lot of work to be done, though. The chairs being made. Trying to keep chairs underneath any workstation just so that whilst work is being done, they are comfortable whilst they're doing it. We'll also like another chair over there, since some people will occasionally want to pop in and have a bit of a nom in our room. And if that happens, I don't want Periapsis to not have somewhere to eat their food. That would be rather awful, in fact. Right, what's the temperature outside? It is a mere 5 degrees outside. Oh my lord, that is not going to work for these plants. Okay, so there are a couple of things that we can do. Obviously, we can build a grow lamp, but we're a little ways away from that, I would say. I think the thing that we're going to try and do is we're going to try and throw together an electric smelter much earlier than I normally would. And the reason for this is I believe the electric smelters are how we make glass. And glass, as you can imagine, can be used to make a bit of a greenhouse. We could wall this area in and then again just tap into the heat coming from the geotherm and keep these crops growing despite the cold. And I think that's actually not a bad idea at all. All right, well, I'm going to allow periapsis to continue working. This is such a high priority. I'm not going to get in the way of that, but I do think this is probably where we want to be going. So sure, let's go ahead and get an electric smelter up and running. Where would be the best place to pop that? I mean, I could just pop it down here. Sure, we'll just add even more heat to this room. I'm sure that's not going to go wrong at all. There we go. All right, thank you very much. Let's get this all hooked up. Now that will drain the battery quite aggressively, I should imagine. We do have the mod that allows them to turn off lights when they're not in the room, and likewise turn off devices when they're not being used anymore. However, whilst the default of the mod is that a device that isn't being used uses nothing, that felt a little bit too cheesy to me. While it does make sense that you'd put something into standby mode if you weren't using it, you wouldn't. Turning it off, while it is only an extra step and it does make a lot of sense, it feels like that strays very, very aggressively into game balance breaking territory. Even putting something into standby mode already feels like it's kind of in that direction. But nevertheless, standby mode is going to be using 10% of the device's usual power, which is a great deal more than the usual spec for standby mode. I think it's like a watt or 2 watts or something like that is if it uses more than that, then it's not a standby mode based on or at least the latest kind of spec that I'm aware of. Right, well, that mad squirrel can recover, maybe, I don't know. Okay, so Encrypt had a little bit of a scuffle there, and managed to you destroyed their tail. How did you destroy their tail? With its head, smashed her body, leaving a disgusting wound. A bruise caused Squirrel to collapse. Dodged, gnawed Encrypt in the head, leaving a horrific wound. Really? I didn't see a horrific wound on Encrypt. I think the armor may have protected them. I have no idea how you managed to. I think that the tail damage was just an aside, really. It was opportunity damage. I think probably what happened there was Encrypt with their kind of uniball motion system just turned around and started rolling away and just rolled over the poor squirrel's tail. Kind of adding insult to injury there, really. Right, we've got everything we need for this, so as soon as Bubbles has taken care of that, we'll be able to start working on it. Right, next thing then, I would actually like to make a stockpile zone down here. Something like this would do very nicely, and for this, I'm going to want all chunks and I guess corpses, but we don't want any rotten corpses. I only want fresh ones to be brought over here. Encrypt can take care of that for now. There we go, and I would like those to be hauled. I'm going to allow this to be hauled as well. You can just bring all of these to where they need to be. Let's start moving some of the gubbins from around here, shall we? Let's move all of the gubbins. We'll give Encrypt something to do for a while, I think. That would make a lot of sense there. There we go. Plenty of stuff to move around. Now, this particular landing spot is not my usual go-to. I usually wouldn't even consider a spot that didn't have granite for its absolutely amazing defensive properties, but kind of branching out a little bit here. But all we've got is limestone, marble, and I believe it was slate as well. So we at least have the nice contrasting colors of the marble and slate to play around with. Inspired creativity. Oh, nice. Okay. Very well. But well, I don't think we're going to be going for that one. That is not exactly the right thing for you. I don't think that would really help us that much. Right. We do have the electric smelter up and running, so we can make glass from chunks. Any chunk can be used for that. We can smelt metal from slag. Okay, so metal from slag should be a forever job. Do forever, but would like it to be only drawing from the chunks pile. So we'll give it a radius of about 20. So there we go. It'll just bring that stuff over and break it down. But as far as the make items from glass, this is less of a forever job and more of a I strictly want this much glass available to me at all times. Glass is very much like blocks. It's a manufactured item rather than a raw resource. So it's going to it's not going to stack to as large a number as usual, but this should be okay. Likewise, I want this to be about 20. Let's have that around there. I wish there was a way to just very specifically specify that in there. Right, we are going to want to do until we have I'm not actually sure how much glass gets used in a construction. Let me have a quick look. If we wanted a glass wall, about 4 glass per construction. Okay, so we're going to say something along the lines of 200 blocks of glass, and then unpause, and we'll only unpause at about 100. That should be fine. Look at that's fine. You can look at everywhere. I don't think that's going to be a problem. There we go. That'll be a bunch of work the periapsis will almost certainly do ahead of working on the rest of this. There we go. That's actually going to be perfect. Marvelous. Right, while you're working on that, there are a couple of other things I would like to do in here. I would like another wooden dining chair. We're gonna, well, actually, no. I was gonna put a dining chair there and then have a chess table, but I think that would actually be a mistake. Instead, what we're going to want is biotech mech recharging bay. That is absolutely going to be of fantastic importance to us, because right now our mechs are running down on energy, and once they get down to a certain amount, yeah, they're very close to it, they will just stop at that point. Can we make this? Do we have enough steel? We do not have enough steel. Okay. Well, that is not ideal. In that case, we're going to move the smelting mech slag down, rather up. Try and get that done. Are there more mech chunks around, I wonder? Well, there may be. It doesn't look like there's too much around here, unfortunately. Okay, well, we might have to have periapsis do the dreaded mining then. They're very, very bad at it, so it's going to take them an inordinate amount of time to get it done, unfortunately. But here we are. This is just the way of things. All right, we actually need that done so that our mechs can remain active. In fact, I believe now in vanilla, you can just click on that and you can have them work on that a little bit more aggressively there. There we go. That should be fine. We only need a little bit more. We actually might have enough mech slag. No, we're only getting 15 per. That isn't enough, sadly. But, well, no, we do. We just have enough. That is fantastic. Assuming that this doesn't break. But, oh, wow, that's fantastically good timing. All right, can you get to work on that? I actually need you to finish working on this boat. I will not have periapsis try and do it. There's too high a chance that they will mess it up. They are fantastic with fine crafting, circuitry and such, but when it comes to structural scale crafting, not exactly their bag, unfortunately, and it would go awry and we would waste the components, and that would be very, very sad. Right, let's get another 2 shelves in here. These I will use for things like blocks and the likes, and other such things, for example, wood and steel and so on and so forth. All right, let's get that finished. If we can get that done soon enough, then this is going to be a huge help, because this will allow a mech to recharge about 50% of its battery per day, versus something like 5% of its battery per day if they're having to do self-charging. There we go. We have a look at, yeah, plus 50% per day. That's absolutely wonderful. Now, this I would actually like specifically for raw resources. And I will link that one up as well. This way we can clear all of that out. Raw resources, oh, items, I see. So if we have a look at glass, that comes under items, does it? Under manufactured, right, okay. Let me have another look at manufactured then. Textile, drugs, okay, oh no, that's fair. Right, well, I still want to get stuff off the floor, because when they're on the ground like that, it makes our characters very unhappy with it. However, I will add manufactured to this as well then, in that case, just so they can pull those items along with as well. But yeah, these look particularly ugly to our characters. So we want to try and clean this up as much as we possibly can. Right, as for down here, we probably should look to get a stone cutting table up and running so that I can make some actual bricks. Since right now, although steel is non-flammable here because we have the metal doesn't burn mod. I know before any chemists come at me, I realize there are some metals that do that, but they're extreme edge cases. Steel does not burn. Steel is not combustible, okay? I understand from a game balance point of view, because steel you just mine out of the wall. They wanted it to have a negative, much the same as wood, but iron wouldn't burn either. They can melt, sure, if you make them hot enough, they'll become molten, but they don't just catch fire. They catch other things on fire if they're molten, but they themselves don't burn like that, damn it. My goodness. I have lost too many colonies to a steel wall just deciding that it was made of paper. Right, okay, let's go ahead and set up some glass down here, I guess. Yeah, sure. We'll have some glass walls there, around there as well. This will make for a very, very pleasant little room, I should imagine. On that note, I guess I would have a door going out there. No reason not to. So a steel door on that side as well. Okay, so we've got a little garden then. Kind of like that, if I'm honest. I'm a big fan of that, actually. We're going to need to move these around a little bit, so that's going to take some time. But whilst Bubbles is recharging, Encrypt is taking a little bit more time. They're going to need to recharge fairly soon, but Bubbles should be fine. Fallen monolith. Periapsis has noticed an ancient monolith partially buried nearby. If you investigate it, you could learn more. Well, I mean, I kind of want to. Okay, so this is the anomaly content. And Periapsis, for those who haven't caught up on the nature of the Triarch Covenant, Periapsis, while they are a Mechanitor, it's a very spiritualist Mechanitor. And so would have an interest in the whispers coming from this falling monolith. We might want to try and ascribe dominion of this monolith to either the Forge Bound, the Shatterkin, or the Stillwalkers, but I suspect that the voices coming from that monolith don't belong to either of those three tribes. Right, let's go ahead. We're going to get rid of this now so we no longer store any items in there that we don't particularly need to. That would be fantastic. Wow, okay, I'm actually starting to feel very, very bad about this. Are you going to recover? You're no longer bleeding, so there is actually a small chance you will. You may actually survive, so I'm gonna let nature take its course. I mean, of course, Aavak could come along and eat you, but you know, that is just the way that is, I'm afraid. All right, we will finish off getting all of this glass made. It is taking Periapsis quite some time to get that done, unfortunately. But right, the other thing we're going to need to do, since we are recharging our mech. Now, the recharger produces waste packs. We're at 32% waste. This will produce toxic waste packs. We need a place to put toxic waste packs, and that should not be here, for example. Let me just double check that. Toxic waste packs, no, not storing anything like that there, please and thank you. We want some very specific locations for such stuff. And I am thinking, this might be a little bit close to the insects, but I'm going to have a little spot down here of critical importance. Clear all. Toxic. We're going to have waste packs allowed there. Now, I'm going to copy those settings, and I'm going to have 3 others. I am a believer in using, again, you know, I think insects are a boon more often than not, but you do have to leverage them properly. And to do that, I'm going to make a couple of areas where we are intentionally going to store toxic waste packs. And the hope being that this will encourage insects to spawn in those locations, which will be in the path, the direct path of any potential raiders. So hopefully they will have to deal with the insects and not us. All right, okay. Looks like Periapsis is now just going to get down to some research whilst Bubbles finishes recharging. And probably by the end of the night, Encrypt is going to shut down into dormant self-charge. We'll see how that goes. But for the time being, I'm going to have Encrypt haul some more blocks over to... Oh, never mind. I was going to say hauling some more blocks, but we're being raided by the Treaty of Selborg. Okay, they're attacking immediately. Threat points used 40. This is the breakdown of how it came to that amount. The adaptation factor, threat scale, grace factor. Okay, well, let's jump to location. Let's see who we're being fought by. We've got Val, a chief, who is armed with a steel equa and a shield by the looks of it. Yeah, cloth, tribal wear. They've got a tribal backpack, which would be very nice if we could get. That, in particular, is worth our time trying to get off them before they go down. There's no insects on the path that they're going to be taking, so we are going to have to do this ourselves, but that should not be too much of a problem for us. All right, I think we're going to draft everyone, and let's go and meet them down here. Oh, actually, should we allow the warg to get in on this? It depends how quickly they can get here. They've got a fair ways to go. I think we could meet them over here, for example. All right. Now, this scenario, I'm fairly certain that our mechs by themselves would be able to handle it. Combat Extended does a few things, but one of the big changes is that it has overhauled the way that damage interacts with armor. As such, I'm not actually sure that Val's weapon is going to have enough penetrative force to be able to take on the armor of our mechs. Okay, so the melee armor penetration, this is the sharp penetration. I'm not actually sure what RHA stands for. I think it's a rolled something alloy, but it can penetrate 0.26 millimeters of sharp protection. But in terms of blunt, this is 0.58 MPa of force. That's how much thickness of armor, the force of a blunt impact, it would be able to punch through or overcome. I guess that's the amount of resistance it could overcome, would be a better way of putting that. If we have a look at bubbles, what we want to look at is, right, you've got 2 MPa and 4 millimeter RHA. So that is definitely not getting through. The sharp is not going to be able to puncture, and I don't actually think the melee either. However, I'm going to allow Periapsis to get in on this fight. The mechs are more here to be melee blockers for us. They're not combat mechs, so now if we have a look, fairly close range. We're currently taking snapshots. I would like to know what your chance of hitting is. We have a look here. Shot by Periapsis, the visibility error is basically 0. They're so visible. There's no error because of a poor visibility. Lead error is based on how well they can lead a shot on a moving target. Range error, the closer, or rather the more optimal they are in the range band, the smaller error is going to be there. If you're shooting someone at the maximal range of your weapon, expect that error to be quite high. Sway is, I think, quite heavily affected by the skill of the shooter, and Periapsis is not super skilled at that, but we've also got target height, target width. They're not in any kind of cover. I think there is a good chance of us pulling off this shot. Let's watch that go slowly. There we go. That was a fairly solid blow, and this right there means that they are hunkering down, I believe. If we have a look here, the gunshot went through their left shoulder. They're bleeding quite badly. They've also got a bruise on their left arm and left radius from Bubbles, basically head. Well, actually, no, it was the constructed torso. So you just smack them, just kind of spun up your. I think they're also on a rollerball. They might have 2 though. I'm not sure, but they just kind of spun up and then just accelerated into them, just literally rammed into their arm. Brilliant. But if we have a look at that, I believe that arrow means that they're being suppressed. Now I'm going to keep the learning helper up until I've gone through all of the topics, but during the streams, where I've been trying to get to grips with the very basics of this mod, we came through a few of these. There we are. Suppression. All humans have a suppression meter based on their mental break threshold. So if they're more of a nervous individual, then their propensity to be suppressed by fire is quite high. anytime gunfire passes by them, it will add to the meter based on the projectile power and lack of worn armor. So the less confident they are that they could have deflected, that their armor would have been able to tank that hit, the more likely they're to be suppressed. When some suppression threshold is reached, they will panic, run for the nearest cover, and become incapable of using aimed shot mode, making it a good tool to break up melee charges or reduce sniper accuracy. It will also impart a mood penalty, making them easier to suppress in the future. You can recognize suppressed pawns by a yellow downwards arrow they're emitting. So yeah, our fellow over here is currently being suppressed. They are panicking because of the gunfire. Serious pain. It doesn't actually show that in there though, interestingly enough. It might be that they're now kind of tied in melee combat, so that's not going to make any difference. But we are getting off plenty of shots. I don't think you're surviving this. Yeah, you're already ultra dead. Right, I want you to stop firing them. There's no reason to do any more. Let the bots finish them. Hopefully they'll knock them down and we will immediately then get in there and grab that backpack. Ideally they don't die. Right, okay, we might only have seconds left. Let's have a quick look. 3 hours, they're pretty badly hurt. Let's just double check. Encrypt and bubbles, they're fine. Right, we want to go in there and we want to strip Val immediately. Would Val have been a good character to have? Yes, Val would have been a good character to have. Such a shame that we have nowhere to put Val. Why do I always forget to build a potential prisoner area before the first raid? I'm chronically bad at that. Oh well, your stuff is now my stuff, and I'm just gonna have to content myself with this. Right, we'll take the pemmican. I would also very much like that backpack, but at this point, everyone is undrafted. Oh, you know, just eat their food right in front of them, I guess. Like, they're going to just try and drag themselves away. I feel horrible. Okay, look, okay, don't toy with your food. You're not a cat. You're going to reload your gun. That I approve of. I would actually like you to equip the tribal backpack, though. Go ahead and equip that. Now, if we have a look at their gear screen, you can see how much they can carry and how much bulk they can carry. Once this is equipped, notice how that changed the bulk and how it changed the overall mass that they'd be able to carry as well. Now, Periaps is probably in a fairly good mood from that. Slept in heat. Well, that's just the way that is. Oh, you didn't get put in a good mood despite having bloodlust. Interesting. Very interesting. Nevertheless, I'm going to want a bunch of stuff hauled over here, and we definitely need to make a room for dealing with that in the future. So I'm thinking a little spot up here, perhaps. Something like that would do. This is a way bigger room than we need, but I will probably use it for more than just a single prisoner. There we go. We're going to want to put a wall heater in there as well. All right, everyone is heading back. I suspect that Encrypt is immediately going for a charge. Yeah, no, they absolutely are going for a charge, and they need it more than Bubbles does now, so that makes sense. All right, well, our first battle is done. I'm so sorry, Val. Val is just literally... Don't leave him like this. Come on. You are better than this, Periapsis. You are. Okay, maybe I need to bump your hunting up a little bit more. In fact, generally speaking, I'm going to say hunting is going to be a fairly high priority job to always do. You're going to read a book first. You're going to read about... I see what you're doing. You're studying up on how best to kill someone painlessly. That's right. As a bloodthirsty pawn, you totally care about doing this in the least traumatic way possible. I can absolutely accept that. Yeah, very convinced. Oh, never mind. Apparently Periapsis genuinely couldn't do it. You need a melee skill of 6, and none of our Mechanoids have that. So I'm so sorry, Val, but you're just gonna have to bleed out, because as much as I don't necessarily want you to suffer, I also don't want to waste the bullets on you, because they are a finite resource, and we don't have a way of making more of them yet. So yeah, until I have enough bullets, I don't have the luxury of being merciful, apparently. Rimworld things. Okay, never mind. I realized that we're actually really shy on steel right now. And since Periapsis is an awful miner, and there are better things for them to do right now, strictly speaking, I would much prefer them to be taking care of of researching, I am going to go ahead and just build these parts out of wood. It goes against my my better judgment, since obviously this could result in a fire, but for the time being, this is going to have to be what we do. Right now, potatoes, you know, they're kind of growing. They're coming along at the very least. Hopefully we can get them a little bit better set up soon. We are definitely going to want to cut down some more trees, though. Specifically the trees that are around our base at the moment. Let's just clear out a bit of a fire break around there where we can. There we are. Using the chopped wood here rather than the harvest, since harvest fully grown, it would only trigger if the tree was adult tree. And right now, this is a bit more important to us. Okay, there we go. Bubbles just finished work on all of the glass walls, which themselves have to be made out of steel. I can't make these out of wood, so I had to recover the steel from pretty much all of the other walls, which kind of sucks. Again, we're literally putting ourselves at risk of a fire by doing this, but we do need to get that food on the go, and as soon as we have the bricks to be able to replace that, that is definitely very, very high priority for us. Let's go ahead and add in a little bit of wooden flooring in here, just up to this point. As we can see from all of these, I don't need every single one of these to be a glass wall, by the way. I could get away with like every other one, but I think this looks nicer as is. These are weaker walls though overall, so that is definitely something to bear in mind. Now, hopefully Encrypt will be done shortly with their recharge. In fact, they're very, very close to being done, so we should be able to get them on the move fairly quickly. And let's place down another tile. I like putting the paved tiles because they've got a harder edge as a kind of a transitional tile for these rooms. There we go. And we're going to throw in let's see, we're going to want furniture, let's say 2 beds. There we go. And probably going to want to expand this out, actually, since we're going to want this to be a prisoner room specifically, and I'm going to need to give them some form of recreation, because one of the mods that we've got allows, or rather forces you to treat prisoners like people, in that they're not just emotionless husks because they're in jail. They do have needs, much like the rest of your colonists do. And look, okay, on one hand, you can take that in the way I think it's meant to be taken, and that is that, well, you know, you need to treat your prisoners well, or you can, you know, leverage the fact that, you know, if you treat your prisoners particularly poorly, then that can perhaps make converting them, or certainly converting their ideology a little bit easier. It's much harder to force someone to question their god when they feel that they've actually got a fairly good life, but when they are living a miserable existence in a tiny little hole in a wall that is moist most of the time, with what they hope is water, is probably blood, and are occasionally being fed their dead friends. Well, at that point, you know, is it any wonder that they start wondering, well, what is the point of me worshipping my god? They're not doing anything for me. This is awful. Maybe I should go along with these people. They seem to be having a great time, not inside the blood cave full of my dead friends. Right, okay, well, let's go ahead and tear down this wall. We'll expand this out a little bit. I'm going to need to at least put a table in here, and probably a chest table as well. Just a little bit of something to give them room to recreate. On that note, I also want to pop down another chest table. I'm going to pop the chest table right there next to my research bench, and I think that should be fine. I'm going to pop a chest table in there. Hello. Right, Periapsis, could you trade with Moon? Okay. Oh, we're actually getting a little bit of a benefit with this. They got reinforced barrels. Oh, how I would love to pick that up. Getting mortars is a fairly high priority for me, but getting to that is easier said than done. I will take all of the food that you've got. Maybe all of the medicine. For now, mortars are going to have to remain a dream, but for the time being, just getting those items should be good enough for us, I would hope. Right, okay, well, let's let the bots continue their building, and hopefully we can expand out into this room. And as we expand the amount of rooms that we're heating, the heat from the geotherm is going to be less aggressive in the rooms that we've got. So hopefully that will also make it a little bit nicer for periapsis when it comes time to sleep. A caribou has self-tamed. Well, that's not going to end well for you, I'm going to be honest with you. That being said, we don't actually have anywhere to butcher just yet, nor do we have anywhere to cook either. That's something we're going to need to work on. To that end, I would like it to be a separate room as well. Now, there are lots of reasons why you shouldn't make your room with your cook stove the same room as your butcher. However, with the set of mods that we're rolling with, that is less of a concern. Specifically in that our pawns will clean the room that they're working in before they do a job, so it shouldn't be as awful of a situation to be in. Actually, I'm gonna expand this room out a little bit more, I think. Yeah, something like this would be ideal for me. Right, so we're going to clear these tiles there we go. This can be something of a refrigerated room. It's not ideal, simply because it's only going to have one tile of separation, but I can put a cooler in there. That shouldn't be the worst thing. It is going to be made of wood, though, which is the worst thing. But we'll have to see what we can do. We do have enough room here, though, that we could possibly... Ooh. Actually, you know what? Hold up. Instead of building this, I'm going to build the stonecutter's table first. And we'll have that one right there. Copy a chair down, and from there we can immediately start producing stone bricks, and I think that should be marvelous for us. We're already up to 144 glass. Honestly, I don't think we're ever actually going to need the glass in the kind of numbers that I set up. I didn't quite realize how little glass we were going to be using for a large construction like this, but I'll allow them to go up to 200. It shouldn't be too terribly bad. That being said, how much is glass worth? Ooh, market value is actually quite high. You know what then? Maybe I will change this to 150. There we go. 150, and you can unpause it once it drops below 100. Okay, the stone cutting table is complete. This is going to be a big help for us because we are immediately going to start... What? Cut stone chunks into boulders? Ah, yes. I had exactly the same response the second time I saw this. Okay, so yeah, you can actually make siege weapon ammunition. I have not seen a way to make the siege weapons yet, but I guess that's a thing that we can look forward to. Now, what I'm going to do in here... I really wish we had granite blocks, but sadly we do not. What we've got is limestone, marble, and slate. So I'm going to set up a fairly simple job. We're going to do until X, and I'm going to want to make sure that there's always, let's say, 100 of every type of block, and pause once it's less than 50. That should take care of it. In terms of the radius, once again, I'm going to say like 20, because we should only take from nearby that way. There we go. Anyone can do this work. It's fairly simple work to be done. Right, there we go. We're going to set that one up for limestone, the marble, and the slate. And the beautiful thing about the Better Workbench Management mod is that I can just copy and paste from a single job, and it'll paste only the relevant part of that job. So the do until 150 part, not the limestone part. So we're now going to make marble, slate blocks, and then beyond that I'm just going to make any stone blocks. And this one is simply going to be well, do until, you know what, I'm going to give this one a fairly hefty amount. I'm going to want a lot of blocks, and this one can be unpaused once it's below, let's say, 300. It really doesn't matter what we're using there, but once again, I want this to be about 20 blocks away, so nothing more than that. But they can just go ahead and make what have you. Now, With that in mind, I've had enough time to properly consider our situation. Periapsis is not terrible at cooking, some familiarity, so we are eventually going to want to cook some good stuff, but initially, I think we probably want to leverage the fact that a nutrient paste dispenser has 0 chance of causing food poisoning. Periapsis has got lots of other ways that they can they can maintain their mood. I think we are going to go with nutrient paste, since that's going to allow us to gather up materials and keep our plant, our crops going for the longest, because just raw crops, they actually do have an incredible shelf life, whether refrigerated or not. So I think making use of those would be particularly good. Meat can be reserved for some of the nicer meals, though. Let's go ahead and get some whole things. There we go. Let's make sure we're bringing in all of the gubbins, please, and indeed thank you. There we are. Hopefully our bots can bring all of that back. I've gone ahead and I broke down the ship trunks that crashed earlier, and that's how we built most of this. Still working through some of it, though. Oh, I don't like that. Yeah, really don't like flash fires when my house is made of wood. Damn it. The virus lineup are dropping by. Wasters from the virus lineup have arrived nearby. They are attacking immediately. Now, this is not someone from nearby then. Where are the nearest wasters on our map? Oh, they're quite far away, past this mountain range, or this one. Either way, they've traveled a long way to get to us. Interesting that the Eterkin or the Impids have not come our way. Maybe we're beneath their notice, but the Wasters definitely tracked our drop pod and have found where we're at. Okay, well, let's have a quick look at them then. There we are, the wealth points that are being used. Let's jump over them. They're attacking straight away. What have you got? You've got a club. Very well, let's have a look at you. Now, I'm going to be honest. Delicate, now that's actually quite nice. Ascetic, also kind of nice. You're not incapable of anything, but you are a waster. That is not the best thing for us, because wasters have a need for psychite. That being said, Periapsis, what is your current plants of 9? You probably can grow psychite, and we would be able to make psychite tea, and that would be enough to keep Jarvis on the go. Hello, Tilly is coming to have a look at Jarvis. Tilly, you're still wet from being outside early in the rain, my lord. Right, they're good at shooting, decent at melee, decent at construction, actually double passion on construction, and they like mining. Oh, okay. Okay, there is definitely a possibility of a capture here, though it all depends. Oh no. I didn't notice them. Okay, well, the insects have got something that I would very much like. I would very, very much like the stuff back here. That in particular, no wonder we're getting submissions and the L-Tex as well. Okay, well, I'm going to have to nip in there and pick those things up very, very soon. These in particular, going to want to grab all of that, really. I might need Periapsis to do this manually. The next time the insects go to sleep, we are grabbing that reinforced barrel. That is absolutely imperative for us to have. Okay, well, our enemies are on their way. Let's see what route they take. Where are you going to go, Jarvis? Are you going to cross the marsh? Are you going to try and go through the tunnel? You're going to go through the tunnel. Fantastic. Oh, that makes that very easy for us. Though you're probably going to die. There is no way I can rescue you. Okay, so it doesn't actually help us. In fact, it hinders us a little bit. Sorry, Jarvis. I would like to try and collect you, but there's no way I'm tangling with the bugs for you. That being said, maybe I could. No, I'd have to stabilize you before I moved you. And stabilizing you would put us way too close to danger there, I think. No, I'm afraid, Jarvis, that you chose a very unfortunate route, and this is the consequence of that. See, I told you the bugs were good. I mean, you know, they kind of worked against us in this particular instance, but I'm sure you can see how they could be good in another instance. Ah, there we go. Smithing is done. Wild Woman wanders in. Let's have a look at you. There's so many things. Oh, okay. Well, depending on which way you wander. Now, Wild Woman might be actually okay. Meaty. Are you a pigskin? You are a pigskin. Ah. They have some very interesting names. All right, well, I don't know whether you're going to survive this one. Oh, Oh, what are you going for? You are going... Oh, our caribou. Right. Not actually what I wanted. Huh. I guess I may as well throw down a quick pen marker in here. It's not really the pen, but sure, we can have something like that. Maybe when we expand all of this out. In fact, we can now start planning this. So let's go ahead and quickly do that. Let's plan. I've got, what blocks have I got the most of? For 5, I would say, actually, I've got the most marble blocks. Wow, this is going to be a fancy room. Very well. Marble blocks it is then. I'm going to need a nutrient paste dispenser. So let's pencil that in. I could have it being dispensed over on that far side, or I could rotate it a bit more like this and have it being dispensed there. I think probably more like that would make sense, as that's going to give the actual nutrient paste dispenser the most room around it for things to be placed. So if I were to have it bang smack in the middle of this room, I'm going to be pushing this one back a little bit more, but that won't be the worst thing in the world. All right, let me lay down the plans then, and I shall bring you back in a few moments when we've gotten a little bit more of this done. Also possibly we may have recovered a couple of bits and bobs from around the insects as well. We will see. And we have our first harvest coming in. That is huge. I'm actually going to turn off sowing though, because I want to see how much periapsis clears out of this area. I want to set up a little bit of an area for other things, such as some heal root. I'm going to be honest, I didn't take into account how good periapsis was at growing, or the fact that realistically we would be able to set up a little greenhouse here. So this does open up quite a few other options for us. Bubbles is getting much of the freezer area ready, which is fantastic. Only got a couple more tiles to place, though I am going to need periapsis to get out there and do a little bit more mining fairly soon. I have told them to go ahead and gather up some plants though, namely some berry bushes and some wild heal root. Right, now that I know that this area is good, let's go ahead and set up a new grow zone down here. And this one will be for some heal root right there. There we go. Heal root only requires skill of 8. I'm thinking Psychoid as well. The corn and the rice, they take so much longer to grow in poor soil, even though this is a relatively warm environment. It's getting plenty of sunlight. I still think it's probably going to be best for us to avoid that and just keep with the potatoes for now. As for our caribou, it almost has enough food, almost. For now it seems okay though. Shaman Merchant from the Gubia Pact is nearby. Fantastic. Going to be able to do a little bit of trading, I should imagine. Right, hopefully periapsis will get the last of this brought in, and then I'll have them start planting some more potatoes straight away. Right, periapsis, as soon as you can, go ahead and do a little bit of a trade down there. Don't actually have enough room for storing all of this. That's kind of a problem, if I'm honest. Let's see about reinstalling. Ooh, actually, yeah, this is gonna be a tricky one. I really don't have enough room for this. Well, I guess I could... No, I think we're just starting to hit that point where I just don't have enough room in this area for all the shelves. We're going to need to change things around a bit soon, I think. I can at least fit that one in, though. Then I can probably just squeeze in another one down here and then another smaller shelf as well. And I'm going to have all of these linked. There we go. So that we can store plenty of stuff. Right, okay. I could get rid of the caribou, actually. Ooh, a hen and roosters. We could actually get some chickens. And we'd be able to produce more chickens. Anything else? Harling's psychomorph. Not sure that's what we want to pick up right now. Not gonna lie, I think that might not be the best thing for us. But the psychic shock lance maybe. I definitely wouldn't mind picking up some items that would give us the ability to take a captive that we want to take. So a Psychic Shock Glance is a limited use psychic effector. It shocks a target's mind with chaotic images, blocking coherent perception and dropping them into a state of psychic shock. There is a risk of brain damage. It has a long range, but requires line of sight. I think we pick this up. Anything that will increase the ability of our colonists to survive is worth grabbing. The Psychic Soothe Pulsar, not necessary right now. I really, really would like the Rooster and Hens, though. I think we pick them up. Yeah, we absolutely do. I think we trade away the Caribou, which is a much harder one for us to keep alive here. It's worth a decent amount. In fact, near enough covers the cost there. In fact, it does cover the cost entirely and with a tiny bit to spare. So, all right, that was absolutely worth it. All right, let's hopefully get those chickens in here. Now, I'm going to need to make somewhere for them to roost, though, because this is not going to be warm enough for them, I don't think. That being said, I could perhaps make a little area down here, maybe. There should be enough nutrition grown in here, and if I want to, I could perhaps allocate a little bit of area for hay grass, which would be able to help with the chickens as well. Oh, disturbing visions. Periapsis has a strange dream. In it, he saw a black shape unfurling in space and time, growing and consuming. The shape originated from a nearby crumbled monolith. Upon waking from the vision, Periapsis feels strangely drawn to the monolith. It calls to him. We can activate the monolith at any time, but activating it is going to start encouraging certain things to take place, which I am completely okay with us holding off for the short term. I think we need to focus on a couple of other things first and foremost. Let's finish getting the necessities sorted out, and part of those is going to be getting the freezer slash butcher room set up. Wait a second, I can hear gunshots. Oh, they finished all of the... They did. They took out all of my friends. Those scallywags. However, on the topic of butchery, there's now a lot of stuff for us. Ah, man. Okay, well, there's a lot of people who we might be able to save. I wouldn't be able to take them in, though. There's a couple that have got only mild wounds. You, for example, I could save, and that would help us out, certainly. But most people here are absolutely... I'm not going to be able to help them. Now, before anyone says, well, quick, go ahead and take all of their equipment off. No, that would not work. The merchants would be very, very unhappy with us if we stripped their colonists. However, all of this is now allowed. Sadly, that little area is no longer part of our defenses. And so I'm going to clear, or rather add to insect safe, this whole area now. Oh, actually, that was rather silly of me. No wonder nothing has been taken down here. I didn't have these areas in insect safe. All right, well, this is going to be turned into a for colonists medical area. We'll do what we can. Periapsis, I need you to get down here and to save as many people as we're able to. Now, if you have a look at health, you're going to die in 6 hours. You're going to die in 10. You are by far and away the most likely to survive. Anyone who's less than 4 hours, I'm going to say, there's no chance. Yeah, probably not on you as well. You're definitely not going to be savable. But Periapsis, you might be able to rescue Mandrill. And if we're able to, I could stabilize right now, but all stabilizing does with combat expanded is it stops. Oh, you're not carrying any medicine in your inventory? Well. Let me change that to then Milado. Right, you've got a current loadout of nothing. Okay, well, I guess now's the time to set up their loadout. All right. Let us set up a new loadout. This is how loadouts are done here. In terms of drugs, that just... We've got 2 different modes. In fact, I think it might be 3. No, it's just 2. One, you will pick up any missing and you will drop excess, and the other you will simply drop excess. So for example, if periapsis had picked up a certain amount of drugs, they would drop all but 3 of them, but they wouldn't go and collect drugs if they didn't have 3, but medicines they would. So here specifically they'll just grab any medicine, but I want to make some adjustments. We're going to call this periapsis loadout since it is just periapsis right now, but eventually we're going to want a couple of different ones. Any perishable meal, I want you to have 2 on you at any one time. In terms of medicine, I want to go with, let's see, medicine, herbal medicine, and regular meds. I would like you to carry 3 herbal medicine, 2 regular medicine. Now, these ones don't have the pickup and drop. That's only from what I can tell for generic items. So, for example, ammo for a certain weapon or any type of medicine. So that, for example, raw food, so on and so forth. And since I'm saying, hey, specifically carry these ones, we don't get the drop or collect. But what we will do is we want to pick out the M1911. There we go. One of those, which is what periapsis always has. And then what type of ammo does periapsis currently have available to them? We've currently got the .45 hollow point. Okay, we've got 38 of that. Well, then I would like to change this up a little bit. So manage loadout again. Select periapsis loadout. We want hollow point, and I would like you to be able to carry 3 clips worth of bullets with you at any time, and otherwise drop off the rest. I think would probably be the best. Is that in the generic at all? Ammo for yes, I guess you could have just ammo for this, but at that point they would pick up any kind of ammo, whereas currently I'm saying specifically carry 21 bullets, or 3 clips of hollow point. Right, there we go. That's periapsis loadout. Let's set that up. There you go. I would like you very much to reload. Oh, reload worn armor. Reload for this gun. Can I tell you specifically to re-equip? No. I could draft you and then undraft you. You should immediately grab your gear. Yes, you've grabbed your loadout. Perfect. Right. Given that, then, this is now a high priority. Mandrill is on the verge of death. Can I tell them specifically what medicine to use? No, it doesn't tell me. Okay, so stabilize Mandrill, then stabilize Jaguar, then rescue Mandrill. It's going to take some time, so hopefully we can get all of this done fairly quickly. We've got a long way to walk, unfortunately. So I don't think this is going to work out too well for us, but we'll see what we can do. Let's have a look at Mandrill. Dead in 4 hours, but we're down here now, so we're going to stop that. You're no longer bleeding out. Jaguar is dead in oh, where are you going? I don't know. Can you stabilize Jaguar? There we go. Let's stabilize Jaguar. There we are. Well done. Notice the med kits that are being dropped all over the place. Oh, what are you doing? Consuming pemmican. No, I'm afraid not. You can have some food in a moment. Jaguar is no immediate danger. Good. Right, let's get Mandrill back. We'll properly tend them. The longer they have a wound. Oh, you come down. Oh, that's right. Yeah, we're gathering all of the gubbins. That's fine. The longer that an open wound is, well, open, and the worse the condition that they're in whilst they have that wound open, the higher the chance of developing an infection later on. Disease infection, yeah, Mandrill was quite rough there. Right, you take care of them quickly, because they are going to die otherwise. Jaguar will die if you don't get down here quickly. Am I going to be able to rescue them? I think there is a small chance that I can. So we'll try it, but there is a very small chance. Encrypt, can you... periapsis, can you stabilize them again? No. No, I think it all comes down now to whether they can get them back in 2 hours or not, which is a big ask. That's a huge ask, actually. That's a long trip. Well, we'll give it our best shot, but there there isn't a great deal that we're going to be able to do. This is down to fate now, and whether crossing this river is going to slow us down too much. Hopefully we can rescue them. If not, then, well, Mandrill, you are saved. Yeah, unfortunate. Jaguar died, blood loss. Oh, well. That is unfortunate. Right, could you tend to Mandrill? Let's try and get them back on their feet. Now, they have got nasty blood loss, but, you know, hopefully we'll be able to tend them properly. Chance of space, we have to just drop down. Really? Food poisoning on top of everything else? This is not going to be good. I'm just going to put that one out there. This is going to be quite rough, but it is what it is. Right, well, we are going to need somewhere for butchering because there's a lot of things to butcher. We are also going to want a cooler in here, so a little over-the-wall cooler right there should be great. We'll just pop that in. Though, getting all of this set up, there's a lot of things we need to do first. We'll have the nutrient paste dispenser there. There are so many other bits and bobs that we need to do. I feel that we are not going to get most of the meat there, which sucks on many levels. Periapsis, you're going to have to focus on mining for a little bit. I would have liked to have been able to have you... that is not going to go your way, Caribou. I'm going to be honest. Bubbles is not to be messed with. I mean, what did you expect, Caribou? You brought this on yourself. All right, Bubbles, you can get back to your work. That was unpleasant having to listen to that battle, but here we are. All right. I have set up a little spot for popping rotten corpses because I can only assume quite a few of these are going to rot. We definitely do not have time to dig them graves. That's just, that is, again, a luxury we cannot afford right now. They should be thankful that we're not cutting them up for their sweet, sweet human flesh. Thankful for them, or while I'm fairly certain the Periapsis would be okay with eating people, we are not at a point where we need to. Though that being said, I think Periapsis would actually enjoy wearing the faces of people as not necessarily their own face, maybe as some fancy pants, maybe, or maybe a beautiful human skin duster. But again, we're not at that point that we need to do that. And while Periapsis did come all of this way because they're just kind of sick and tired of people, you need a few more steps before you're ready to just start carving them up like just a basic resource. I think it's fair to say that whilst Periapsis might have a love for the thrill of battle, not quite at the wearing a necklace made out of people ears yet. Sadly, Mandrill did not manage to get through their infection. I can't say I'm too surprised about that one. We tried, and that's all I could really do for them. Sad, but, you know, it is what it is. Well, these can go back to being prisoner beds. This is currently a prison commons, so prisoners have full access to this room. Even if they had a individual cells, they would still be able to enter this room as long as the cell was neighboring it. For now, though, Periapsis is back to work. Hopefully we can get the rest of the steel gathered soon-ish, but it's no longer a huge priority. Outside is relatively cool, so all of the corpses out here shouldn't spoil too terribly fast, but still we do want to try and get more of this work done faster, sooner rather than later. Okay, starting to see the toxic waste packs gradually decaying over here. Won't be too long before that's polluted enough to start causing insects to spawn over there. In the meanwhile, let's get an expansion to this area because I noticed that we didn't have enough nutrients growing. Now that's going to be the case anyway because it's just that cold here. Eventually that's going to be an issue. That's why we're growing the hay grass so that we can hopefully keep the animals fed during the coldest months regardless. Chickens don't use a lot don't need a lot of nutrition, so it should be okay. All right, let's see if this has expanded this out enough. Yeah, it has actually. That should be good then. But yeah, we are going to want to leverage the heat coming from our cooler. Now that is possibly going to be too hot. We will see. Hopefully not, but the coolers do output an awful lot of heat. But the flip side is that I'm hopeful to set up a event that we will open during the coldest months, just to make use of the cold that's out there. We don't need to just use the heat that's being generated by the geotherm. We can make use of the ambient low temperatures. What the heck are you doing? Who said you could make use of our horseshoe pin? That is very rude, but I guess I will allow it for now. Yeah, all of the corpses unfortunately decayed. We could have butchered them, but honestly, we just don't need to. So taking the time out to set up a butcher spot didn't seem like a useful use of our time right now. Let's allow Periapsis to get the rest of this broken down. Hopefully we've got some... we've got some eggs over there. Very well, I will accept those. Let's bring those in. But we do need to grab a couple more bits and bobs. Wow. Poor Encrypt. You're never going to get a day off, are you? Okay, we've just picked up a quest. We actually picked up two. The first is the Ship to the Stars quest. It is a guaranteed one, really. It's just an available ending to the game. But Mooney the Tired, a desperate refugee named Mooney, is approaching. Mooney claims to have woken up from cryptosleep all alone and friendless. Mooney begs for permission to stay at Colony for 10 days so she can rest and regroup. In return, she offers to work and fight for free during that time. If you make her happy, she may join you. She may also reward you later for helping her, but there is no way to know her true intentions. This refugee is not part of any faction. If you wish, you can choose to kill, arrest, sell, or harvest her without diplomatic consequences. Do I have any further information about that? I don't think so, but we're going to take them in all the same. We definitely need some help. This is a fantastically difficult job. It is going so slowly. It is the 2nd of September. We've been here for 20 days, and the last 10 have mostly been spent trying to mine. Right, let's go ahead and see who Mooney is. Mooney's got to have to walk past the insect. That is... Okay, that's your first test, I guess. But let's have a look at you. Melee of 10, not terrible. You're a psychopath. You're incapable of caring, artistic, social, or intellectual. But you're okay with crafting. That's good. Plants, I mean, you have a passion for it. But construction, that's very nice. You're equally bad at mining. That is not exactly what I wanted to see. I'm not going to lie. But all right, we're going to need to get you over here very safely, which is going to be rough. Oh, okay, since it looks like you'll be here for a while, Periapsis thinks that you should give the faction a name. What should your faction be called? And also, what should this settlement be called? Well, okay, I guess I sort of saw this coming, but I haven't prepared a name yet. Okay, given that Periapsis is the one making this suggestion, I think this should have a strong tie-in to their ideology, the Triarch Covenant. So Graven Forge, that both reflects Periapsis' more... not necessarily morbid, but certainly a little bit more aimed towards the solemn, the more macabre aspects, plus their focus on mechs and indeed the Triarch aspect of the Forgebound. And as for the name of the settlement, Marble Hearth, since we're in the process of largely replacing all of the walls with marble, it just seems to work. So there we go. Right, Marble Hearth and the Graven Forge. Now, will you be able to sneak past without upsetting the insects? You are able to. Fantastic. Let's get you in there properly then. Where are you going right now? No. What are you doing? Please, no. Let's get you to definitely be in insect safe, please, and thanks. There we go. You should head back. Now, let's have a proper look at you. We're not going to be renaming them until they are part of the colony. They will stick with their Bonnie Mooney name, which is not a bad one, all things told. You're a scout and a torturer. Okay, that would explain the psychopath. Working for a tyrannical dictator, Mooney earned the reputation as an expert in persuasion. Any prisoner who went down into the dungeons left with no secrets, and with Mooney's smile scarred permanently into their nightmares. Okay, that explains many things, actually. And early childhood, you were a scout. Born to the administrators of a Rimworld colony, Mooney was enrolled in a youth program that taught military scouting skills. She learned to survive in the wilderness, to obey, and not to ask questions. Also explains a few things. Very well. Okay, well, given your high melee skill, you're actually able to make called shots during melee. Currently, I can tell you to aim to the bottom, the middle, the top, or just wherever you feel is the best area. And for now, I think that makes a lot more sense. You are in very ratty apparel, which is unfortunate, and you just have a poor steel knife, which is equally unfortunate, if I'm honest. Now, in terms of your health, you've got implanted IUD, and your left leg has a painful stab scar. Okay, well, we're going to have to work on that. You are a disliked xenotype. We're definitely going to have to work on this, actually. Okay, tons of disliked xenotypes. All right, let's have a look at your current belief system. Animal personhood, supremacist, preferred xenotype is pigskin. You actually hate yourself. All right, well, that is definitely something we're going to have to work on. This will not work for us at all, but first and foremost, let me get you all set up down here. All right, there we go. You have a passion for hunting, but that's largely based on your... Well, actually, no, it can't be based on your animals, because that's the skill over there. It's based on your combat skills, but your idealism presently precludes you from taking part in hunting, so I've disabled that. It might actually be something that's going to be a bit of an issue of periapsis hunts as well, since you've got animal personhood. But everything else is set up. You will also help out mining, but you're going to help with all of the crafting as well, since you've got a passion for that work. What I could do, well, actually, you know, you're more or less the same as periapsis in terms of just basic crafting, so I'm happy for you to pitch in with that. But now I'm going to need to make you a bed, and that's really not something that I had considered. I'm going to need to move a couple of things around to get a new bed built. Hopefully that will help out there, though you're happy to get some of the cleaning done in here, which I'm very much okay with. Right, let's move that across as well. This room is getting far too small. We're definitely going to need to expand that out a little bit. But other than that, I think we're going to simply copy over the same schedule for you. At the moment, we have no other weapon for you, so we're not going to have to worry about giving you any specific loadout right now, though I guess I could set up a basic loadout. What are we up to down here? Why are you coming down all the way down here? You're consuming insect jelly. I'd kind of prefer if you didn't. If I'm perfectly honest, I'd super prefer if you didn't. So instead, I would just like you to haul the pemmican. How about we just move that back there? Can you actually carry any more? You could easily carry more than this. So let's haul... Actually, let's haul all of the pemmican nearby. No? Okay. Can I tell you to just grab it? You should be able to pick it all up. Right, there we go. Let's have a look at your gear. Yeah, I can manually do this for now. Go and pick all of this up, then pick all of this up if you can. How are we looking? Yeah, you've easily got enough room for all of this. Let's go grab all of this pemmican. That is way too precious for us. That backpack is giving us an amazing carrying potential here. It looks like musket shells here, which is a bit of an interest. Also, there is a ferret. You know what? I could possibly wake up Meaty over there. Might be worth doing, considering, but no, I think if the ferret wants to eat Meaty, then the ferret can eat Meaty. Look, I said that I was okay if the ferret decided to kill them and eat them. I feel a little bit bad now that happened now, but at the same time, look, a ferret's got to eat, all right? Survival of the fittest. I just wasn't expecting a ferret to be fitter than a pigskin. I shouldn't have been surprised, though. Owning ferrets, they are agents of chaos. Sad wanderer Mooney, really? You came to my colony to eat my food and then wander around in my pasture all mopey-like? Oh well. Okay. We've got the first snows coming down. It is presently moving towards the end of autumn here for the colonists. And very, very soon, this place is going to be completely frozen over. So with that, we're going to have to start considering getting some materials for warm clothing in, I think. Additionally, I think we're probably going to have to, we're definitely going to have to prioritize getting the butchering area up, even if it is just a butcher spot, which I can do. It's just, it's not as efficient. But we're going to need to be bringing in carcasses and getting materials, because if nothing else, I need an animal flap down here. I could put it in a door, but then my animals won't be able to use it, which kind of it works against making them a proper little area. In fact, they may be starting to feel a little bit worse for wear. Yeah, we're going to need to do that very, very soon. If we can get enough marble together, then maybe we can push through, but I'm thinking we just need to take out some of the caribou. Using a pistol for hunting, not exactly the best thing in the universe, though. So ideally would rather not have to use that. Right now, though, we've got a little bit more mining to do. But once that is brought, all of that steel is brought in. In fact, we're starting to accrue the steel, so maybe that isn't as high of a concern. But we definitely do need to get the animals someplace warm to sleep over winter at the very least. Right, there we go. I have set up a butcher animals order to keep both of these filled with about 150 meat, though it'll unpause at 100. And I've also set this up to take any animal corpses so that we can keep them preserved in here nice and chilly. I'm going to need a little bit more limestone, though, I just noticed. Hopefully I can gather enough. Let's go ahead and just set up a little mining order just down there. And with actually looking at the limestone blocks over there, we're still not good, even with 2 people, at mining. So it's almost always going to be better for me to just deconstruct something with blocks rather than try to mine for the chunks. But there we go. We got another little harvest of potatoes. Fantastic. We should be able to get those in there. You know what? Maybe I should set this up to also take the potatoes. Sure, I suppose. We will set this up for raw foods. That'll include all types of raw foods. That's fine. They should just haul all of that in. I think these are set up to important, so I'm going to set these to critical instead, so they get moved out of here if they happen to have been stored there. There we go. That will take care of a bunch of things. All right, we should start bringing in the hay grass before too terribly long. We are actually storing... we're storing fertilized eggs in there. No, we are not. As it happens, fertilized eggs, no. Fertilized eggs here, yes. Though I think they might already be not long for this world. Though having 8 chickens hatch will be a bit of a rough one. No, they were already ruined by temperature. That is perfectly fine then. Well, I suppose, won't they be brought in here, I wonder? I mean, I guess I would have hoped they would have automatically been brought in, but maybe not, even though they have been ruined by temperature, as it says there. Right, okay, time for us to do a little bit of a hunt. I want to hunt things that aren't going to fight back if we possibly can. Doesn't look like we've got a lot of options here, so I think we're just going to go for the caribou. Let's set them up. Let's get them in the freezer if we're able to. Now, Periapsis, will you take care of this? You will. Fantastic. Thank you. It would be so much better if you had a weapon that was properly fit for hunting, but now I'm very concerned that this is going to make you super unhappy. No, for now that hasn't actually that hasn't worried you too much. Okay, well that's perfect then. Right, in terms of cooking, Periapsis should immediately get to that, and I don't mind having Periapsis have that as a super high priority given the situation. Right, now, final thing that we're going to need to do is I need an animal an animal flap. 25 cloth. In this case, we can use the plain leather. Let's just pop that down there. There we are. Do I want a little light in here? I probably do, actually. So let's go ahead and pop a little light in there just to keep this place visible to us. Now, the big issue here is this could easily... Oh, that is what I was worried about. Right. Periapsis, I need you to not run away. Okay, I kind of need Bubbles and Encrypt to come down here immediately and help out. Go, go, go. All right, then, Periapsis, you might be able to get away. I don't know. You might take a bunch of damage from this. Medical treatment needed. Okay, you've got a bruise. Just keep running. Let the others get involved. There we go. You've been blocked. No, they are not blocking. Not nearly as much as I would like. Take a shot. Okay, there we go. Maybe I should have just let you take care of that before. I am going to allow self-tending, but for the bruises, I'm just going to say basic. So you go ahead and self-tend there. We can finish off the job here. Your mechs can go back to not being drafted. Hopefully this shouldn't be too rough for you. No, it's all fine. Right, I would like you to finish off the caribou then and take it back. There we go. Do we need any more? Not right now. And caribou can handle the extreme cold, so I'm not too concerned about that. Now, this room has already gotten stupendously hot, so maybe having this, pumping all of that heat in here is not the right move. That being said, outdoors is cold enough. It is currently it's fairly early on. What we could do is actually move this forward and have this. I was going to hook this up to the outdoors, but kind of makes sense if we want to make use of that heat, since this room isn't actually generating enough as it is. That is a problem, though, because we're going to have to tear that down again, so I am going to need to butcher that one. They may suffer from heat stroke at this rate. So let's try and get this job done rather sharpish. A logger named Deadlift has arrived and wants to join the colony. He's willing to contribute, but will not leave voluntarily, claiming to have nowhere else to go. You can choose to turn him down and send him away. However, your colonists will be disturbed at sending someone away in need. Can I get any I've got no information about you. This is most vexing. I also have no more room for beds. But I do kind of need more people. It certainly wouldn't be an awful thing. Okay, well, let's try and throw down a bed in here. I'm going to need to build a proper bedroom sooner rather than later. How long do we have? 10 hours. Okay, well, I'm going to eke out as long as we can with that one. Hopefully we can get the rest of this taken care of. Critical major break risk. I don't think you're going to be joining us then, if I'm perfectly honest. How about we haul this back and you can quickly make the remaining blocks that we need for our animal area. Okay, it's an eclipse. I'm not going to force Deadlift to wait out during an eclipse. Fine, I accept. Let's go and have a look. Like the sombrero. Already a big plus there. Massive plants, massive animals. You're a gourmand, which means you are good at cooking, but you will want more food. However, gourmand is actually one of the better negative traits, in my opinion, in that it will force mood breaks to be food binges, which, you know, assuming you can handle that, is much preferable to the alternatives. So 7 in cooking, that's actually pretty good. You've got a passion for melee, but you're not too bad at shooting. That's actually not bad at all then. Okay then, Deadlift, you're a member of the colony, so we're going to need a name for you, and I'm also going to need to set you up with a schedule, so give me just a second. Okay, there we go. Another one that isn't great at constructing, I'll be honest with you, but right now Moon is the only one that'll help out with construction. Bubbles is more than capable of taking care of the rest of it, but they do have a couple of good skills. Namely, they're very happy with handling animals, so they're going to take on that role. Everyone else is going to have that as a 4. We will put a 4 in Warden for anyone who isn't particularly good at it, but generally speaking, I want the best person doing it, and right now that is Periapsis. Cooking, they are the best person, so they're going to take over full cooking roles. I'm not going to have Periapsis doing cooking at all, but there's going to be very little cooking to do, to be fair. Growing, obviously, that is a very high priority now. That is a life support priority, so it gets a number 1 there, but everyone else is going to have that on a 2 because they've got passions for it, much the same as they have a double passion for plant cutting there. Art, they are the best one for it in the colony. I'm going to put it on a 3 for them, I think. As far as research, though, they're going to have that one on a 4. It's just something that they can do if they've got nothing better to do. Outside of that, though, I think at this point I'm going to put hauling up to a tertiary priority for everyone. Cleaning will be the last, since common sense means that they will clean if they're going to use the room, but this is just for general cleaning outside of that. There we go, and we have this room ready. Okay, well, in that case, let's go ahead and flick that switch there. Well, hopefully the switch will be flicked very, very soon. Already got meat stocked up. There we go, and Mooney, would you like to go and flick that switch? No, never mind, there we go. Right, temperature is now balancing between these rooms, which is fantastic. Outside, it's still not cold enough for me to open that vent. I would want it to be, even in daytime, colder than I'm trying to keep this room. That way the cooler isn't going to be working against the outdoors temperature, which would be just a drastic waste of power. But so far, fairly happy with what we've managed to do. Got a little bed there. I don't want to use the room over here as a bedroom. I would prefer to build a dedicated bedroom for our colonists, which would honestly fit in fairly conveniently right about there. But I think that's where we're going to be wrapping up this first episode. Reachery, you are playing with fire there, Malado. I realize you got a pretty awesome sombrero, but I don't think it'll save you from bugs. So it would be great if you could just, like, you know, not be there. No! Why? What are you doing? Why are you going in here? Oh, my bad. Turn around. But with that crisis averted, this seems like the perfect place to wrap up this first episode. And I figure we can send it off with a little bit of a time-lapse of the settlement coming together. One per day, taken at midday. There's not a great deal to show yet, despite the fact that this was a super long first episode. But with each new episode, the time-lapse will get, well, more time-lapsey, I guess. I hope you enjoyed the episode, though, and I hope you're looking forward to the next. But from Periapsis, Reachery, Bubbles, Encrypt, and of course, myself, do take care, everyone.